So you want to kind of ignore this, and you go after random people in the streets with flags saying from the river to the sea. Don't you see that comparison is a little bit
Well,
off?
it's not just random people. It is Hamas, who is the governing body of Gaza.
Hamas?
But
How many people in Israel died in October 7th?
According to the numbers, 1,200. But
According to who?
But the numbers are still being counted.
According to whom?
Guys, this one's intense. Bassem Youssef sits down with Adam Sosnick, and what starts as a simple question about which countries a comedian would feel safe performing in quickly turns into one of the most heated and revealing debates I've seen. On the Israel-Palestine conflict, we get forced contraception claims, zoning restrictions on Arab citizens inside Israel, population numbers, and a full-scale clash over who is allowed to live where and why. Some of the things said here need a proper fact check, not just a highlight reel. And that's exactly what we're going to do before we dive in. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss videos like this. And drop a comment telling me where you're watching from. I love seeing how far this community reaches. Alright, let's get into the clip.
Middle Eastern countries you just would not feel safe going, or just completely uncomfortable going there telling jokes. What countries?
For now, for me, Egypt.
Straight up. Like, would you go to Afghanistan? Would you go to Iraq? Would you go to Syria?
Afghanistan, no. Syria, no. Iraq, no.
Would you ever perform in Israel?
No.
You would not?
No.
Why? They would accept you.
I don't accept them.
You don't accept Israel, the state of Israel?
No, I don't accept them taking care of me getting in. That's no problem. The problem is when you go in Israel, it's not about going in Israel or not. It's that the fact that they really show you a terrible time. You go in the security, they treat you like shit.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I've been invited by Palestinians a lot to go to there. And so, like, I would go to you, but, like, I don't want to deal with the border control of Israel. It's just because they humiliate you.
And that's because you're Arab, or that's because
I'm Arab.
But they have 20% of their population is Arab. They're not leaving.
Yeah, but they're treating them like shit.
Not according to them. I've seen them. I've met them.
I met them too. I mean, they don't have, like, you're talking about the 20% of Palestinians?
I'm talking about the 20% of Israelis are Muslims, are Arabs.
Yeah.
If given a choice to move to any other Middle Eastern country, given the state of circumstances of the Middle East, they would choose 100 times out of 100 to stay in the democracy of Israel. Why don't they leave?
Have you talked to them about their healthcare and their schools? Because they're about like 25 Arab cities that they don't have hospitals or schools. They have to take...
In Gaza or in the West Bank?
No, I'm talking about inside Israel. I'm talking about Arabs with Israeli passports, fully fledged Israeli citizens. They don't have a single cinema, they don't have a single hospital, they don't have a single school in their cities, and they have to go to the Jewish states in order to go there. There are many daily microaggressions against the Arabs who live in Israel having the Israeli passport. Mm-hmm. Even within the Israeli community, you have slurs like Arabi Malukhlakh, which actually that's their N-word. Mm-hmm. I mean, I can go on and on and on about.
But slurs are going to be everywhere in America, where we're all equal. There's slurs.
Yeah.
Every day I get called a dirty Jew. You think I'm crying?
No, but like every day here, if you find someone's like nigger,
basically 200 years of America.
Exactly. But like when you have like one part of them is much more stronger, and actually control the other one, and all they do is like slurs, because the Arabs cannot do slurs against the Jews.
So why don't they leave?
Well, some of them actually, because it is between like a rock and a hard place. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the whole idea about like Arabs living a wonderful life, they're living good life compared to other Arabic countries, which is a really low bar. And the fact that like can use like a low bar to sell, and at least they're happy now. It's like, I'm living here because I don't know where else to go.
I appreciate you saying that, because the bar in many Middle Eastern countries is very low. I'm
not coming here to defend any countries.
I know you're not. I'm asking what countries you would go on tour.
I'm just saying that the security and the equality that Israel wants you to think that they have it between all of their Arabs, it is not true. They have something called zoning committees, where you as an Arab coming in to get an auction, to get a house in a Jewish town, you will not be allowed to take it. And it happened more and more before. It happened in Nazaret Elite. It happened in many cities that I actually talked about. There was like an auction where they found that most of the people who are getting the houses were Arabs, and the city canceled the auctions. And they canceled the auction saying that we want to preserve the city of Tarshiha as a Jewish, Zionist, secular country. So I don't know how Zionist and secular and Zionist come in the same city. So
it's interesting too what question you're asking, right? Because like I'll sit there and if you want to read this real quick, I'll sit there and I'll talk to my friends in California. And I'll say, hey, California, this, I hate California. I hate this. I hate that. I hate this. And he was like, why don't you leave? I can't leave California. Why can't you leave California? Well, because my family's here, my unit's here, my kids are here, my uncle, my aunt, my grandma, da-da-da-da-da. Okay, got it. But I hate it here. I wish I was living in Texas or I was living in Florida, whatever. Okay. Some people here, I can't believe, da-da-da. Okay, why don't you leave? Well, I can't, this, that. We lived in Iran. We left, lived in Tehran for 10 years. And I went to school there till 5th grade. I read, write, Farsi, everything till I left. And I went to Germany, right? I lived in Germany for a year and a half. And then we finally get here. Like, holy shit, we make it to America, right? It's like a dream. But the people it's not the people that can't leave that give the argument of why don't they leave. It's the people that can leave that choose to stay. Why do you choose to stay? Like, I'd love to have a room full of 50 people who are Arabs who can choose to leave Israel. Why are you not leaving? Make sense? Just to kind of get an idea. What would you say? Why are you not leaving, right? If you have the ability to leave, you can go to a different place. Why don't you
why do 2 million people in Gaza being bombed every single day for 100 days? Why don't they leave? Because that's their land. Right? So you can be living in a very shitty situation, but you will not leave because you know that you're not going to get back again. There's those people living in Gaza, 2.2 million people. They're living under subhuman conditions. They could leave. As a matter of fact, everybody pushing them to leave through Sinai and said, oh no, we will not leave because this is our land. Sometimes you get connected to the land and it doesn't matter how bad. So to answer your question, why don't you leave? Because that's their land.
Yeah, I'm talking about the Arabs in Israel. But
yeah. Because they consider that still their land.
Yeah, but there's so many different ways we can have this conversation. But everything for me comes down to socioeconomics, okay? To me, I'm always wondering, why is the Palestinian plight at the forefront of the news? Right now we're starting to see Yemen in the news. People don't realize for 10 years there's been a civil war with the Houthi rebels, Saudis, Sunnis, Shiites, Iranian-backed militants killing each other. Never in the news. Syria, tens and tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people murdered. We know what's going on in Iraq, what's going on in Afghanistan. This is not an anomaly in the Middle East. But in my opinion, humbly, with all due respect, what's going on in Gaza is the equivalent of BLM in the States. What do I mean? So, black on black crime. Every single weekend in Baltimore, in D.C., in Chicago, you name the city, there's black on black crime. Let one cop kill a black guy, George Floyd, national, international news. In the Middle East, Yemen, Syria, Lebanon, you name it, Iraq, every day, Muslims are killing other Muslims. A lot of it is Islamists, fundamentalists. There's no marches, there's no protests, but Israel defends itself after October 7th, and I've seen you condemn Hamas for October 7th, but you've also sympathized with the Palestinians, as you should. But all of a sudden, that's the biggest story in the news. Why the distinguishment? Why can't Muslims
say... There's a difference between comparing conflicts, civil war, and then allowing another country to bomb you from the sky every single day for 100 days. You cannot compare the both. And actually, your tone of voice, when you say, oh, there is like black on black, Arabs killing each other. in your undertone is saying, yeah, they don't deserve to live, so let's Israel.
0%.
This is exactly
0%.
what you're saying. No, this is what you're
that's
saying.
not what I said.
No, this is what I'm saying.
I asked a question, you're reading into my tone.
You have absolutely no sympathy for the Palestinian killing because
that's not true at all. Don't put words in my mouth.
No, seriously.
I 100% have sympathy.
Your entrance into this conversation is extremely racist because you say, well, Arabs have been killing each other. First of all, the Arabs have been killing each other. These are called either proxy wars or civil wars. But this is different because America is not standing behind Saudi Arabia voting every single UN resolution like Israel. Israel is killing Palestinians and nobody can do anything for them in the UN or the Security Council. Right? You can talk about how Saudis are killing the Houthis or the Yemenis or how Iran. Mm-hmm. But when they go to the Security Council, America doesn't use the veto. You know how many vetoes did America use since the inception of the Security Council? How many?
Tell me.
88. How many of those were they used in order to protect Israel from a veto?
0.
56.
Oh.
The superpower of the world over 50 years used more than 65% of its veto power to protect one country. You cannot compare both.
So why do you think that is? Why is Israel so aligned with Israel? I'm sorry, why is U.S. so aligned with Israel over Gaza?
I don't know. I mean, there's like a million.
Ask yourself.
There's a million. Why? So why?
I want to know.
Tell me. Because they're white like them? Are they allowed to?
Who's white?
Well, I mean, a lot of Americans consider Israel is the white.
But you know for a fact.
I know.
Most Israelis are Sephardic and are brown.
It's the perception.
So it's bullshit.
It's the perception.
Exactly.
It's a perception. So this is how Israel promotes itself. We are we are a democratic country. I have never seen a secular or democratic country that would actually give contraception shots to its own citizens, to their Ethiopian Jews, and make them not to reproduce. And until 2013, they have confessed doing that. They have been doing this for 10 years. That is not a democratic country. I have never heard a secular country, a democratic country, that would kidnap little kids from Yemeni Jews in 1950 and then take them away and then tell their parents that they die. And they did that in order to instill Semitic DNA in their population. That's why DNA testing is not allowed in Israel.
So are you pro-Islam? Are you anti-Israel or both?
I'm not pro anything. I'm pro-humanity, man.
So am I.
It doesn't matter my religion is. I don't care, actually, and I can give you 100 things I can tell you about Islamic countries that they do wrong. But what happens is right now is that the people who are bombing people every single day, they are not Yemenis, they're not Houthis, they're not Saudis, they're Israelis. For 100 days, they have dropped almost 3 nuclear weapons on an open-air prison, and all because of Hamas. Dude, if ISIS was already there, you have no excuse to kill 30,000 people.
You can't say words like nuclear weapons when it's not true, Bassem, and you know that.
The equivalent of 3. No, I can't.
So now they're dropping nuclear weapons? That's what you're trying to sell me on this one now?
I said they're dropping the equivalent of 3 nuclear weapons.
So how many people have died in Gaza?
30,000 people.
Okay, according to Hamas. Obviously, UN gets their number from Hamas.
So
but
do you have a number that you trust?
No, I don't have any number that I trust, but I'll take your word for it. I don't think that sounds...
So how many...
hundreds of thousands of Muslims have died in the Middle East.
How many people in Israel died in October 7th?
According to the numbers, 1,200.
According to who?
But the numbers are still being counted.
According to whom?
According to the IDF.
Oh, but I don't trust the IDF.
Whether you do or you don't, those are the numbers that we're working with.
Well, I'm giving you 50,000 people died, and you said you don't trust them. So who do we trust?
That's not what I said. I said according to Hamas.
Yeah, but
so whether I believe the numbers...
When you say according to Hamas, it's the undertone that you don't believe the numbers.
With all due respect, you're missing my point.
Mm-hmm.
30,000, other than the Hamas fighters, because I will stand to kill these people. I hope 0 civilians die. But we know what happens.
But they die.
Of course.
Every day.
But let's go back to my initial question. Let me ask this question and then you can stick to my...
How do you think how many...
But what about the 100... 0.
Stop.
0.
But they're killing it.
Okay, but that's not my point, Bassem. My point is this.
How many kids lost their limbs?
Can I ask the question? And then you can have the full response. Why is this issue at the forefront of the news when hundreds of thousands... Since 9/11, 5 million plus people in the Middle East have died. 5 million. 5 million versus 30,000. Where are the marches? were the protests.
You haven't been around.
No.
You just haven't been around.
No, but I also read the newspapers. I see what's going on.
Because there has been marches against what's happening in Yemen. There have been massive marches against what happened in Iraq.
If you ask the average person, they couldn't tell you that there's a war in Yemen.
There is a difference.
But if you ask the average American, they know what is exactly going on in Israel.
Here's the thing. These mental gymnastics where you want to divert people to other conflicts, these conflicts are proxy wars. These conflicts are civil war. Terrible, horrible. Civil war. There's been civil war happening in all kind of Asian and African country. The only difference is that is a foreign country invading another country, like exactly Russia invaded Ukraine, and then everybody is sitting there. All they ask is ceasefire, because one of the people in that conflict is a country that has been financed, given money by the U.S. It is considered as part of the free world because they're secular, because they are democratic, and they are committing war crimes every single day under the eyes of the United States, of the UN, and the Security Council. And that is why it is different.
Fair enough. So civil wars are totally okay. If it's a civil war, don't look at those are people just doing their thing.
Did I ever say that civil war is okay?
But you basically equivalized. If a civil war, 5 million people die across the Middle East.
Yeah, it is terrible.
It's no big deal.
Usually the civil war is really supported by like two proxy people, and they're like killing each other, and it's terrible, and they're trying to do it. And at the same time, those people are not just like killing them, they're killing them, wanted to push them out, openly saying that we are going to push the Palestinians into the Sinai. Basically, that is my country. All right? The
only people shouting for the river to the sea are the Gazans.
Well,
Palestine will be free. So what does a free Palestine look like?
You know what's the difference between regular people in the street shouting from the river and the sea? Mm-hmm. These are regular people that are carrying flags in the street. You know what's happened on the other side? You have government official like Bitzail, like the Minister of Finance. You have Bin Ghafir, who is the Minister of National Security. Both of them, by the way, were arrested many times for acts of terrorism against their own country.
These are Israeli prime ministers?
These ministers.
Not the prime ministers, ministers of certain.
Yeah.
So do you mean to tell me that Yahya Sinwar, who's the head of Hamas, or Mahmoud Abbas, who's the head of the PLO, they're not politically saying from the river to the sea? So if we're going to use that equivalence...
You didn't even finish. Go
ahead.
So first of all, you are comparing a militant group, a terrorist group, with a secular democratic country. This secular democratic country that I'm telling you about, they have ministers coming up with a map of Greater Israel behind of them, and they openly talk about them, which is, by the way, if you don't know, the Greater Israel map is from the river to the Euphrates, including part of Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Lebanon, and Syria, and of course Palestine. So that is the official talk of the official ministers. So you want to kind of ignore this, and you go after random people in the streets with flags saying from the river to the sea. Don't you see that comparison is a little bit off?
It's not just random people. It is Hamas, who is the governing body of Gaza.
Hamas?
But the point of a democracy, what do you mean?
Hamas, at the end of the day, they're a militant group. They're a militant group. They're ISIS. You don't take them seriously. Militant group.
Don't take them seriously. They're the leaders of Gaza, Bassem. They were elected in 2006, and as your joke said, a 30-year...
2006, when nobody actually was alive by then. Like now, like people there, how many people were alive?
50% of Gaza was not alive in 2006.
So if you did an election right now...
All right, that got heated fast. Now let's slow it down and actually look at what was said, because this is the part most reaction channels skip. First, the veto numbers. Bassem claimed the United States has used 56 of its 88 Security Council vetoes to protect Israel. The real total is closer to 89 American vetoes overall, and the number used specifically to shield Israel sits between 51 and 56, depending on which official list you check and which year you stop counting. So the exact figure moves a little, but the core point stands. More than half of every veto the United States has ever cast in the Security Council has gone to one country. That is not a talking point. That is a public United Nations voting history. Second, the zoning and housing claims. Bassem argued that Arab citizens with Israeli passports are blocked from buying homes in Jewish towns through formal zoning committees, and he cited specific cases like Nazareth, Elitz, and Tarshiha. These are real documented disputes. There have been multiple instances where local councils canceled or restricted housing auctions after discovering large numbers of Arab buyers, citing a desire to preserve the Jewish character of the town. courts have ruled on some of these cases, and the pattern is acknowledged even by Israeli civil rights groups. Whether you call it discrimination or demographic policy, the practice exists and is not invented for the camera. Third, the why don't they leave argument. Adam kept returning to the idea that if life is so bad for Arab Israelis, they would simply move, the same way someone who hates California can move to Texas. Bassem's response was that attachment to land is not the same as shopping for a better apartment. People stay in difficult places because it is home, because leaving means permanent loss, and because the alternative is often worse. That is a human reality that applies to many populations under pressure, not just this one. What made this exchange different from most cable news shouting matches is that Bassem did not stay in slogans. He brought specific policy mechanisms, historical examples, and numbers that can be checked. Adam relied more on comparative framing and personal analogy. You can disagree with Bassem's conclusions, but the details he introduced are not easy to dismiss with a wave of the hand. That is why this clip keeps circulating. It forces the conversation past the usual talking points and into actual structures of power, citizenship, and land. If this kind of breakdown is useful to you, let me know in the comments. And as always, stay sharp out there.